Hi, welcome back to my channel. See if I've got that level. It has been a little while, and I am so happy to be back. Thank you for your patience with me. I do have so many things I want to share with you, and my intention is going to be consistent and to post at least twice a week and keep sharing these ideas. And if you like the content, I can't wait to hear what you think about it in the comment section. My purpose in doing this is still felt passionately by me. I have had all these experiences with my life as being a survivor of trauma myself. I was born into a very abusive family that was also in an oppressive religious environment. And through my life, I survived and broke through multiple systems of oppression. And that is what I want to help people do. People who are in similar situations. And it doesn't have to be that dramatic or that much trauma or that big. Just any systems of oppression or any way that we're oppressed, which means we're not our freest self, our truest self, that we are navigating life based on programming or guilt or shame or fear that influences our decisions. And if that's the case, then we are still influenced by oppression. So what happens in our own minds that from trauma or from childhood conditioning can be oppressive. And the goal is to be free, to be free. So today I want to talk to you about a concept that's going to be related to a video I already did about listening to yes or no in your body. And we're going to add a little more to that and even fine tune it a little bit. My videos, I know this is the first time that I'm doing something like this. And so the beginning ones might be a little rough or a little cringy, but I do invite you, if you like the content, to go back to the beginning and watch them all, because I am building on some concepts. And if you don't feel like doing that, that's okay, because I hope each video will stand alone and share something important. So the concept that I want to share with you today that's going to be related to this listening to our yes and our no's and the conditioning that that directly speaks to is please and appease, where we learned to suppress what we really feel or what we really need or really want, had to learn how to read the room, what's expected of us, what are we supposed to be doing or saying, what do we hold ourselves back from that we really wish we could do? Or very importantly, what are we not saying no to? So the first things that we want to look for in addressing that conditioning inside of ourselves is, where are we saying yes when we really wish we could be saying no? And that's going to start illuminating for us where we are giving too much of ourselves and giving in ways that, is it an expense to us? So the concept I want to share with you today is another acronym, and it's FOG: fear, obligation, and guilt. I learned this from Susan Forward in her book, Emotional Blackmail. That book has been around for a very long time, and I love it, and I highly recommend it. I have a few books by her. Another one that's fantastic is called Toxic Parents. So I recommend both of those books. But the concept, fear, obligation, and guilt, this is what her book, Emotional Blackmail, is about. And we really can recognize if we're being manipulated, if someone is making us feel like we need to do something, and we ask ourselves, am I feeling fear, obligation, or guilt? And ultimately, we don't want to do anything out of fear, obligation, or guilt, including if we're making ourselves feel this way, because we've had a lifetime of conditioning and we have these beliefs of what's expected of us and what we should do. And if nothing else, if we are mindful and do a check-in of, am I feeling fear, obligation, or guilt? we can learn about ourselves. Where is this coming from? Certainly, there's some things that we're still going to feel are important, that we might be feeling obligation and we wish we could say no, but we still say need to go to work. We definitely still need to do things like care for our children. But if we notice that we're having these kind of dread feelings and not wanting to do it, then we can address that and maybe heal some things, or maybe we have some needs that aren't being met that's making parenting more difficult for us. So, checking in with these three feelings, fear, obligation, or guilt, is still going to give us some good information. So, let's go back to thinking about someone is pressuring us, fear, obligation, and guilt, and we don't want to do something. Well, then we need to think of what's going to happen if I start saying no. And what's going to happen is you're going to go directly against the conditioning. And it might be that the people in your life won't even have bad reactions. Maybe you just learned to, say, be a people pleaser early in life. And these relationships are actually, they're safe, healthy people, and they won't have a bad reaction. Maybe you already know that you have certain personality types in your life and they are going to get mad at you or react in a certain way. And by the way, those are the people that we really need to be saying no to more often. But with mindfulness and self-compassion, because it might not be easy at first, if you start finding opportunities to say no, something amazing is going to happen in time. And I get so much resistance to this idea sometimes because people are like, well, I wouldn't do anything ever. And that actually isn't true. That actually isn't true. If we free up our energy and our time and have a little period of rest long enough, you will spontaneously be doing things because you want to. And if you really think about it, I use this example and think about this, and maybe this wasn't always the case even for me. Maybe I would get hurt feelings and want to pressure someone, to do something and meet my emotional needs. But if you really think about it, say a friend of yours didn't want to go to lunch with you, but they were too scared to say no. So they're going to go out of, obligation or fear that you're going to get mad at them. I mean, really ask yourselves, do you want that kind of friendship? Don't you want people to show up because they really want to, so they feel safe with you to say, I'm not feeling well today. I've got a headache, or I don't feel like I can make it. And then when your friends are really with you, it's because they want to be. And as I've learned to practice this, and it's certainly not perfect, but really I can say so much of my life is because I want to. So if I'm out skipping in my yard, picking little flower bouquets and taking them to a neighbor just because that feels like a fun idea, that is coming from this joyful place inside me. And this is where I hope that we can all begin to live from more and more. What happens when that conditioning is in our heads, our time and our activities are kind of unconsciously being run by guilt, fear, obligation. And we're missing that authenticity of doing things for the right reasons. So if we heal the conditioning, have the period of time of saying no more, we will change our brains, and then things will start showing up spontaneously because we want to, and we will be living authentically from joy and spontaneity and because we want to. So one more thing I want to touch on is how can we check ourselves and make sure we're not being manipulative? I'm sure I certainly have done this, and maybe we all do it a little bit, and we can check ourselves. And the key is we take no for an answer. So we ask someone, hey, do you want to go do this with me? No, I don't really feel like it. Oh, come on, please. I did this and this for you, or why wouldn't you want to do that, right? We're manipulating. We're trying to, I think the definition of manipulation is we try to make someone feel a certain way to get them to do something that we're wanting them to do. We're wanting to get a certain behavior, so we make them feel a certain negative feeling. We don't want to do that. So what do? We take no for an answer. And you take no for an answer and then start expecting other people in your life to take no for an answer. So pay attention to these three words. This is powerful. Remember fog, fear, obligation, and guilt. And you can be mindful of that. Notice and check in. See if it's an opportunity where you can say no. Begin confronting that conditioning, even if it's uncomfortable. And you will heal that conditioning so you're no longer a people pleaser. So thank you so much for letting me share this idea today. And I look forward to next time.